Hey Canucks fans, Loui Eriksson has spoken, and some of his quotes are worth dissecting. I'm Canuck Clay. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Thursday, September the 2nd. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. All right, Elias Pettersson spoke to a Swedish media outlet about 3 weeks ago, and he kind of set the world on fire. Loui Eriksson did the same yesterday. Maybe not to the same amount of intrigue and attention, but still some interesting quotes from Loui Eriksson. I want to go through a few of them right now. So he was speaking to the Swedish media outlet rackapucker.com. Yes, it sounds like a bad nickname or something, but yes, rackapucker.com. And remember, this article was originally written in Swedish, so I simply use Google Translate, and I think it's good enough. I'm sure it's not perfect, but this is what we have, so this is what we are going to go with. And even before we get to this article, we know the story. Jim Benning signs Loui Eriksson to a 6-year, $36 million contract, $6 million a year, way back on July 1st, 2016. But that wasn't the only bad contract that was signed on that day. You remember there were about 7 of these type of contracts. Milan Lucic, 7 years, $6 million a year. Kyle Okposo, 7 years, $6 million a year. Andrew Ladd, 7 years, $5.5 million a year. By the way, Andrew Ladd going to be a teammate of Loui in Arizona. Loui Eriksson, 6 years, $6 million. Franz Nielsen, 6 years, 5.25. David Backes, 5 years, $6 million. And Troy Brouwer, 4 years, 4.5. So all these guys got these deals, and some were 28, 30. And then Nielsen and Backes were 32 years old when they got these deals. So at least Jim Benning can say it wasn't the only bad deal of that summer. Probably one of the worst collective of signings on July 1st that we've seen in recent memory. But let's not talk about those other 6 guys. We're going to talk about Loui Eriksson. In the 5 years that he played with the Canucks, he scored only 38 goals total over the 5 years. And that's coming after a year in Boston where he scored 30 in 1 year. So, I think that was a tricky thing, right? Because in Dallas, Eriksson he played 82, 79 games in 3 of his, actually he went 82, 79, 82. And his points were 63, 71, 73, 71. So he was almost a 0.9, 0.85 point per game player. So he does that in Dallas. Then he has a couple, one bad year in Dallas, only 48 games. Oh no, that was the lockout season. No, it wasn't. Was that the lockout season? Yes, it was. It was the lockout shortened season. And he only had, he played in all 48 games, only had 29 points. So still not bad. And then after that, 61 games and 81 games, 82 games in Boston. And then he only had 37 points, 47 points. So kind of dropped a little bit. But then in his final season in Boston before he came to Vancouver, he did have 63 points in 82 games. So a nice little jump up and that helped him. That was a UFA year, obviously. So maybe that's not a coincidence. And then he ends up getting the 6-year contract with the Canucks, and his point totals in the first year, 24 points in 65 games, then 23 points in 50 games, then 29 points in 81 games. So in 18-19, he played 81 of the 82 games, then 13 and 49. And this past season, only 1 point in 7 games. So we can see that not a lot of points when he was playing the Canucks. And like I said, only 38 goals over 5 seasons, where he had 30 in Boston the season prior to coming here. We don't have to go through his entire career here. Obviously, an underachiever, disappointment given how much money he made. But that kind of he earned, I guess, Travis Green's trust on the defensive end. So that way he got a lot of that one season where he played 81 games. He was beside Horvat and Pearson for a lot of that. And we joked around that they would be like the shutdown crew when the Canucks were trying to protect a 1-goal lead. But aside from that, did not create a lot of offense, did not create a lot of highlights, did not create a lot of memories when he was here. Now, let's get to some of these quotes. Right at the top, they called it Loui's bullying is over, like starting over was the quote. And then the 4 subheadings were from the freezer in Vancouver to the desert in Arizona. The bullying of Loui Eriksson is over. This autumn, he will finally play hockey again. And like starting all over again, says the 36-year-old. So there's so much here, even in the headline and the subhead. subheadlines. Louis' bullying is over. Bullying, this could be a perfect example of lost in translation, but bullying is just not a word that you want to use in this day and age, especially when it comes to young people and the way it leads to mental health issues and problems. So that's just kind of a weird title, but again, maybe lost in translation. I'd love to know someone who can speak Swedish and understand it and translate it to a true good translation. From the freezer in Vancouver to the desert in Arizona, okay, we don't have the best weather here, but it's been pretty good this summer. I wouldn't call us a freezer. It's not like he's going from the Yukon to Arizona, but obviously everything is cold compared to Arizona. Again, the bullying of Loui Eriksson is over. This autumn, he'll finally play hockey again. Well, he's been playing hockey, just not with the NHL club. He's been skating, and then starting all over again, says the 36-year-old. But even starting all over again and 36 years old, you usually don't hear those things go together. So there's one funny part in the second paragraph. He says he throws no at Southwestern Canada, just looks ahead. Well, I don't think he's in a position to throw doo-doo at the Canucks organization. I think the Canucks treated him very well. In fact, I'd say the majority of fans were rejoicing when the Canucks were able to trade him and his contract, although we got a big contract coming back from Arizona in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but we're talking about Loui Eriksson right now. So he says this: it's going to be a lot of fun, new team, new coach, new players, like starting over. And it's interesting. We knew that back in 2019, there was that quote that he gave to media saying that him and Travis Green don't see eye to eye. They don't, he used the term, don't really get together. And it's difficult that he didn't have Travis Green's confidence. But there's the one quote I really want to get to you guys. And he said this when he was talking about what he would do, knowing that he's being a healthy scratch all these times, knowing that he's on the taxi squad. And he gets that he is almost untradeable. It was a very tough situation because of his big contract that he earned or that he at least signed. But he said this. He said, I never want to give up. They knew that. The only thing I could do was be down there, i.e. at the rink, show good mood, drive, train every day. It was as it was. It was as it was. I've wanted to get away from this for a long time. There's nothing to complain about, but since my contract was so big, it was difficult. Okay. The one thing I want to talk about is where he says that he wanted to show good mood or be in a good mood. And here's the thing, you guys. I've heard from about 3 or 4 different sources, a couple of them within the team, a couple of them reporters, but this is off the record. But I've heard 3 or 4 different people say that Eriksson was never in a good mood. He was not a good teammate, at least from a standpoint of mentoring the younger guys, maybe because he wasn't really around or maybe he didn't feel he could speak into their lives, but he wasn't like a leader like, say, Edler was or Tanev was. They still are, but they're not the Canucks, you know what I mean? But Edler and Tanev and even Sutter and Bo trying to be that way, JT Miller. So he was never a leader that way despite his experience and despite his pedigree, which wasn't bad, right, before he got to the Vancouver Canucks. So to hear him say that the only thing he can do was be down there and show a good mood. The fact that, yes, I've heard from 3 or 4 different people that he was quite grumpy, quite, not the best person to be around. It wasn't the most pleasant person to be around. And again, I'm sure he was frustrated. I'm sure that it's one thing to collect money, but you want to feel like you're justifying those earnings, and that you want to be part of something big. And he obviously wasn't over the past 2 seasons. But it's just kind of funny the way that he kind of portrays himself to this Swedish reporter and saying that he was always in a good mood and work hard every day, get better. But that is contrary to what I've heard and what I understand to be true. So I'm not trying to break anything here and not trying to gossip, but it just that I'm just reacting as a fan. That was one thing that really, really stood out to me. Now, I don't think he was doing anything detrimental to the team or he wasn't hurting everyone, but I think he could have been more proactive. I think he could have done more for and with his teammates. But again, I'm not in that locker room. I don't know what it's like to be paid that much money, obviously, and to not be able to do what he loves doing regularly with at the highest level possible. So I'm sure it's more complicated than that. I'm sure there's a lot of things behind the scenes, but when I read that quote of him being in a good mood or trying to show a good mood, I kind of call, not sure if that's entirely accurate, but I'm not trying to throw shade at him. I never really connect. I saw him at a couple of the golf tournaments. He was fine to me, but certainly not as personable as the other guys were. And I obviously not going to be a big loss to the Vancouver Canucks, given that they were able to get off of that contract. Even though some would say they should just kept him for one more year, buried him in Abbotsford, and then come off of it. Better than buy him out, I guess. But like I said, we got a big trade coming back the other way. So just some thoughts on Loui Eriksson's tenure and his interview with that Swedish media outlet, rackapucker.com. So I'm not sure if you've seen it or if you've heard about it or you've seen other vlogs about it, but I would love to hear your comments below. You can talk about your reaction to what Loui said, firstly, and secondly, compare it to what you thought of his 5-year stay in Vancouver. Obviously, we can use terms like disappointing or underachieved or whatever, but I'd love to know what you thought about his tenure here. And put it in the comments below, and I'd love to read them, react, and reply as much as I can. Shout out to my hero members, Just Incredible, nucksfan number 29, and Lucas Gates, and to my Hall of Fame members, Jens95, simalexander, Chris Seifried, Adam Broomfield, Shannon Hollingworth, and Andrew Chang. Thanks for the support of all members of all levels. You're listed in my video descriptions. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or in my videos on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. Once again, leave a comment below your thoughts on Loui Eriksson's what he said in the interview and what he did here over the past 5 years before being traded this summer. Subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to, become a member of this channel if you like to, and leave a comment if you'd like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.